sunset across the plain, kissed the rear end door of an eastbound train, and shone on a passing track close by, where a dingbat sat on a rotten tie. He was ditched by a shack and a cruel fate, the con highballed and the manifest freight, pulled out on the stem behind the mail, and she hit the ball on a sanded rail. As she pulled away in the falling night, he could see the gleam of a red tail light. Then the moon arose and the stars came out. He was ditched on the Gila monster route. Nothing in sight but sand and space, no chance for a gink to feed his face, not even a shack to beg for a lump, or a hen house to frisk for a single gump. As he gazed far out on the solitude, he dropped his head and began to brood. He thought of the time he lost his mate in a hostile burg on the nickel plate. They had mooched the stem and threw their feet and speared for bits on which to eat, but deprived themselves of their daily bread and sloughed their coin for Dago red. Down by the track in the jungle's glade, on the cool green grass in the tool's shade, they shed their coats and ditched their shoes, and tanked up full of that colored booze. Then they took a flop with their skins plumb full, and they did not hear the harness bull till he shook them out of their boozy nap with a husky voice and a loaded sap. They were charged with veg for they had no kale, and the judge said 60 days in jail. But the John had a bindle, a worker's plea, so they gave him a floater and set him free. They had turned him up but ditched his mate, so he grabbed the guts of an eastbound freight. He slung his form on a rusty rod till he heard the shack say, "Hit the sod." The John piled off, he was in the ditch with 2 switch lamps and a rusty switch, a poor old seedy half-starved bow on a hostile pike without a show. From away off somewhere in the dark came the sharp short note of a coyote's bark. The bow looked around and quickly rose and shook the dust from his threadbare clothes. Off in the west through the moonlit night, he saw the gleam of a big headlight. An eastbound stock train hummed the rail. She was due at the switch to clear the mail. As she drew up close, the head in shack, through the switch to the passing track, the stock rolled in and off the main, and the line was clear for the westbound train. When she hove in sight far up the track, she was working steam with her brake shoes slack. She hollered once at the whistle post, then she flitted by like a frightened ghost. He could hear the roar of the big six-wheel and her driver's pound on the polished steel, and she screeched her flanges on the rail as she beat it west over the desert trail. The John got busy and took the risk. He climbed aboard and began to frisk. He reached up high and began to feel for the indoor pin, then he cracked the seal. 'Twas a double-deck stock car filled with sheep. Oh, John crawled in and went to sleep. She whistled twice and highballed out. They were off down the Gila monster route.